Ravenlok is a 3 to 4 hour 3D action RPG developed and published by Cococucumber. You play as Ravenlok, a young heroine who moves to the countryside with her family. After coming across a magical mirror, you're transported to a fanciful realm overrun by the ominous shadow of an evil queen. From there, your journey commences as you discover the mystical realm, aid unfamiliar companions, and battle against fearsome beasts, all with the goal of defeating the wicked queen and returning to your homeland. To my surprise, I found myself enjoying the simple storyline of Ravenlok. Initially, the beginning of the story reminded me of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, aka moving to a new land full of adventure, but as the plot developed, it became evident that it incorporated many elements from Alice in Wonderland, such as characters and settings. The enchanting fairy-like journey was both familiar and comforting. Unfortunately, the plot is rather brief, and the conclusion doesn't tie up things well enough to provide a satisfying ending, especially since you don't spend enough time with each character. The visuals and soundtrack of Ravenlok were a complete delight. The voxel art style the game uses is truly magnificent and stands out in every biome. Regardless of whether you find yourself in the Mushroom Forest or the Mask Mansion, the attention to detail and level of refinement is visually stunning. The soundtrack complements each location well, adding a flair of identity and personality to each. The music for the boss fights also creates a thrilling atmosphere that fits each challenge. Now, I wasn't impressed with the gameplay at all for various reasons. After getting your sword and shield, you learn how to fight, block, and use items. However, I never used my shield during my review. I just kept attacking and dashing in every battle. The game doesn't give you any other weapons, resulting in repetitive and easy gameplay. Even the 4 magical skills you learn throughout the game don't add much variety or challenge to the combat system. There are a few puzzles in Ravenlok, but nothing too brain-racking. For example, some puzzles will require you to have a keen eye in surrounding locations for certain symbols to progress. Later in the game, a similar puzzle near the greenhouse presents itself, requiring the player to re-examine their surroundings. These unconventional puzzles make you backtrack a little, but they don't require much thinking. Similar to the gameplay, there isn't much of a challenge with these puzzles, which is a letdown due to how swift the title is to begin with. The best way to describe Ravenlok is beautiful but minimal. I've had a great time diving into the plot, and to a degree, spamming my enemies until I was victorious. However, the gameplay and puzzles were too elementary for me and deserved an injection of difficulty and diversity to stand out. If you're looking for a simple fairy tale action RPG you can complete in one sitting, Ravenlok might be up your alley. Ravenlok launches on May 4th for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox, PC Game Pass, and PC via the Epic Game Store for $24.99.